From the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher. Their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicky Fisher. Our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Skripchuk. And our Batman, the master of tools, gadgets, and all things mechanical, our mild-mannered soon-to-be billionaire, Alan Danvers. Their mission, to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them, and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team.
Captain's Log Supplemental.
Miss Vicky.
Yes, sir.
You know what?
What?
I've been thinking about this Sentinel system.
Yeah. Tell me about the Sentinel system.
So what I was thinking was, we have the one car that's got the aim dash that's slowing us down. Because installing the aim dash is actually, it probably is easy, but it's quite hard the first time. And we haven't figured that out yet. The Sentinel system is really easy to set up. So what I was thinking was, why don't we put it in the Lemons car? And we'll worry about the aim data information separately. And we'll kind of break it down into a project. Because then we'd have the motorsports video system that we really, really want, and we'd be able to stream it. We just won't have the data inside, but we have the data outside, so we can combine them later. But I think that's a really good solution.
So what does this Sentinel system do?
Well, if it had the aim data, it would have all the data on the screen, and you could see all their telemetry and everything live. But we'd be able to not only record it for viewing after the race, but we could actually watch our car during the race.
Ooh, like on the monitor and everything?
On a monitor, if you were at home and I was at a track, or if you were at the track and I was at home, depends on who gets the little short straw, but we'd be able to watch each other.
It's something I've always wanted to do.
And you know what? If you're driving, you know what you can do on the Sentinel system?
What's that?
You can communicate to me with your hands, and I can't do a thing about it.
Even better.
So, if you need to give a wave or a jersey wave, whatever you need, we could save it and see it on the screen. And then you can have up to 3 different cameras, and it'll have picture in picture. You'll have the basic main shot out the front window, and then 2 cameras where you put them wherever you want. One could be on the driver, or one could be on the rear view. It's kind of cool.
Then we can upload it onto YouTube.
We could bore millions of people on YouTube.
I love it.
All right. Very well. You know what the only downside I see about this?
What?
Your mom and my mom are going to be panic-stricken the entire weekend watching this thing to see if everything's going well.
This is true.
We probably shouldn't tell them.
I like the idea of having a Sentinel.
Mm-hmm. Well, luckily we have maybe 2. Depends on how things go. We're going to try. All right. That sounds like a plan. That's the project. We got to get that ready for the next race.
Sounds great.
All right. Very well. Thank you, ma'am. Miss Vicky.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those days. It's one of those good days.
It really is.
It is. It's time to do some dominating with Dawson.
This is true.
Say what? Okay.
It is.
Let's do it.
We are. We're going
Let's
to.
dominate.
All right. We're going to. So, Mr. Dawson, you know that we love to see people out on the track, as do you. And one of the things that we've noticed is people waiting to get out on the track for some reason, unknown reason. And one of the reasons,
I wonder what's holding back.
They want their car to be perfect. They want everything and all this work, and
just their car.
Well, everything really.
Everything.
Because I've seen people kind of put some skill barriers or like some experience barriers ahead of themselves before kind of unnecessarily doing that. Like, I'm not good enough to do this, or I'm not experienced enough to do things, but they are good enough or experienced enough to do too.
Yeah. So everybody wants to be as good as they can be, and everybody wants to be perfect. Mm-hmm. I've yet to do a perfect lap. I'm not sure if you have or haven't, but it's not something that I have not. They don't exist. I can't find one.
Yeah. There's always somebody who
Um,
can get in the same equipment as you and do it slightly better than you can.
mhm,
I mean, just in
mhm.
fact. I mean, I'm not a Formula One driver. I can get into whatever I'm driving. I'm sure show me a bunch of stuff I don't know.
Yeah, but what should keep somebody off the track from starting? We're talking about starting, and what should
Getting started.
not?
Safety items. You should get all your safety items that you need to have to be safe, and even a little bit extra. Those things
Mm-hmm.
should effectively stop you from getting out there. If you're like, oh, I'm going to go to a DE, you know, and the guy who's been there a bunch of times, he told me they're not that serious about tech. So I'm going to try to sneak through and just to get on track. I'm going to do it with my buddy's motorcycle helmet, the DOT rated motorcycle helmet that's designed to handle an impact from falling off a motorbike, not handling the impact inside a car. I mean, could that be an example of a time you should let something stop you from going to the track?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have if your tires have no tread and they weren't designed to be slicks,
Mm-hmm.
I could see
Yeah.
that. But what
Yeah,
about
sure. There's definitely some mechanical things and some safety items that should stop you from getting out there and getting started. You know, if you haven't had a chance to flush in the good, dot four or high temperature brake fluid, you're riding for a fall. If you go out there on normal brake fluid, even as a beginner, if you have a good instructor in your car telling you to brake late and go deep and brake harder and harder, you're eventually going to find the limits of that dot three brake juice. So that's one of the things I would say is essential to get on out there. But I mean, does my M3 need to have everything exactly right and be a replica of the same M3 that they raced at the Nürburgring 24 hour that year? Does that need to happen?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it does.
no?
I think you need to have your minimum safety stuff done. I mean, if you're dying to get out of the track, hopefully not a lot of stuff will stop you. But if you feel like you're almost there but not quite ready to go, ask a buddy or tap into the community. Get on the forum for your car
Mm-hmm.
or your region or activity and say, hey, I feel like I'm about ready to go. What else do you guys, show pictures of your car online and ask people, hey, what do you think I still need to do to get out there? Or do you think I'm ready to go with this equipment? I did that when I had my car caged. I rolled by and saw that I was at a track weekend one time. I noticed that the local NASA regional director, Chris Cabetto, was there testing a car. And I just had my cage fit my car. I was hoping to eventually do club racing in his region. And it didn't really play out that way. But, this is a few years away from that happening or not happening. But I had the cage in the car. So I took it by him. I said, hey, can you take a look at this cage and tell me if, I had it built to the NASA rules. I want to make sure it looks good. So that was something that was preemptive to me getting to wheel while I was still instructing and doing track days. I had that car cage. But I thought, let me pop by and get some reference points on this and see if it is sufficient for the next thing I want to go do. Does that make sense?
It
Mm-hmm.
does. But I don't want somebody thinking that they need to have their car caged
no.
and to
No,
go out
they
on the
don't.
track for their first time.
Right.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm talking about mid phase. I was already way past that.
Right.
But
Yeah.
we're just thinking of leveling up and seeking a reference for what you do have and ask somebody who's relevant to your sort of what you want to be doing with it. So I mean, in that instance, I was hoping to go club race on this guy's series and he happened to be right there. So I was able to ask him, but talk to your track day community folks and say, hey, I'm putting this harness in, or I'm put this brake fluid in. Just talk to your community. I mean, people will let you know if you're messing up. That's one good thing about
Mm-hmm.
our community is they will definitely let you know if they think you're screwing up. They may not be right, but they'll tell you something. So they'll at least give you pause.
True.
Right. And honestly, if you're, at the level that you're concerned about trying to make things perfect before you get on track, you really don't need, I mean, if that's the level that we're speaking of, you really don't need a lot. You just need to show up pretty much.
What do you
As
need?
long as you make sure you have your helmet, make sure you show up with a helmet. You're always going to need a helmet.
You can rent a helmet.
You can rent a helmet too. Listen, people think they need to show up with gloves. You do not need to show up with race gloves. You do not even need to show up with race shoes if you're club racing.
I want to look cool.
Yeah. I mean, you really
club
don't
racing,
even need that.
you do need it for club racing, like sprint racing, but for HPDE driving,
right. For
driving
just
track,
right.
Yes, track events, you don't need Nomex or any special shoes or any special gloves.
Right. Absolutely. You don't even need special fluids, so you don't even need, as long as you make sure your brakes are bled, make sure that, your tire, like you said, your tires aren't bald. At that
you do
point,
want the one special fluid. The one special fluid is the high temp brake fluid. That's the one thing you want to do before you go do anything.
Okay.
Make sure your car's got enough oil in it. But that's sorry, just wanted to give a caveat about the no special fluids thing.
Yeah.
I would say if it's your first time on track, you probably won't need it, but it's good to have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it depends. I've had some first time students who came from sim racing and they were ready to go. You know what I mean? It didn't take me telling them much before they were pushing their car, to some pretty extensive limits. So I'd say there's no harm in putting the good brake fluid in it. Whether you're sure you'll need it or not, you leave it in. you leave it in. It's not like you got to take it back out. Just leave it in and run that as your brake fluid. But it is pretty easy to do.
Yeah, and by special we're talking like .4. We're not talking $5,000.
Oh,
we're talking.
By the way, why don't you talk to them about that? The .4. Is there any other dots that you need to worry about?
There's lots of dots.
Okay, why don't you do a little tutorial on that?
So my personal favorite is the cherry one. That's the red one. They have the orange one. Quite yummy. Now Mia is a fan of the yellow dots and the green dots.
Can we move on? Thank you.
That's not what you meant?
No. Keep going.
So .3 is kind of like the old standard, run-of-the-mill brake fluid. .4 is a higher boiling point, wet or dry. Wet meaning brake fluid's made to be hydroscopic, which means it sucks in water. That prevents brake lines from rusting. It's the only reason. And that gives you a higher brake boiling point. And the thing with the boiling point is when the brake fluid starts to boil, then you stop losing the ability to transfer the pressure hydraulically to the brake pads and brake caliper. So you effectively don't have any brakes. So that's when you have a bad day.
Right.
So, and then I believe there's .5, which I believe is for long-term car storage use. I think it's a silicone based, if I remember right. Might not be remembering that right, but that's not something you want to lose. It's not like it's better than .4, so don't use that. Use .4. Use a good .4 if you want to, and you can use .4 for everyday driving. It's not going to be any problem. You're fine. You're good. And a lot of the better mechanic shops, at least in our area, they're using .4 standard, so it's not anything special. That's what they use because it doesn't cost a whole lot more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I don't think you need a whole lot. If you're going to be out doing your HPDEs, and that's where you're going to learn. Now, when it comes to track, obviously you're going to need more, and I believe we've already discussed some of those areas of what you're going to need when you get out in our previous podcast.
So really, what's keeping you from going on track is you. You can do the brake bleeding. It's really, really easy. If you don't want to do it yourself, you can take it to a shop, and they'll do it for $100, something like that.
Probably, yeah.
I don't know. We haven't ever done it, but it's an option, and just go out there and try. It's going to be fun. You're going to have a good time. Be prepared to spend a lot more money when you really get into it, but go for the first time. You'll have a good time.
Yeah, and go with the clean car, but don't expect to be trying to keep your car clean all day or anything like that. Driving on track is a relatively dirty pursuit. You get kind of trash gets thrown up in your car and things get hot and stick to your car and stuff like that. Don't sweat it. Clean your car when you get home. Don't try to be armor all in your car all day when you get out there. It may be something that was important to you when you're not at the track, but it won't be that important once you get to the track, I think.
Yes. So speaking of two things that Bren just talked about, one, to get the rubber off of your car.
Oh, this is a good one.
We particularly like the Mother's, I think it's called rubber remover or something like that. Works really well. You know what doesn't work really well though, Ben?
What's that?
Speaking from experience, Armor All, specifically on the brake pedal or the gas pedal, not the best plan to go out on track.
A little slippery, huh?
A little bit.
Yeah, listen.
Did y'all do that really?
Do not detail your car and armor all your tires.
Nope, don't do that either.
Don't do that. Don't do that. That's bad.
What does it have? You roll over the sidewall and start sliding around?
Yeah, sometimes the armor roll leaks onto the tread, so that's always good.
Oh yeah, geez, yeah. I guess if you're really doing a thorough armor roll, and you probably get a lot of that tire, right?
Yeah, don't worry. Your tires aren't shiny; they're still fine. They'll be okay.
Oh, man, have I ever told y'all about the GTR guy who I had? He wasn't my student. He was from out of region, and they just wanted me to show him around VIR. So I'm not in charge of this guy. I'm just showing him what to do, but I got to ride with him while I tell him. This dude, I go over there to pick him up, and he's standing over there with his shirt off, doing muscle flexing by his car. His wife and his little kid were there, and I guess she was supposed to be taking pictures, but he was just standing there like flexing with his car with his shirt off. I'm like, get your shirt and your helmet on, Jabroni. We got to go.
Jabroni.
I still see him like lipping off on Facebook about stuff. I'm like, you're such an idiot. Anyway, I just thought I would share that. I mean, you do need to put your shirt back on. That's one of the things keeping you from getting out there. If you're standing around flexing next to your car, one thing stopping you from getting back out there is putting your tunic back on. Then you get out there.
Yes, please keep your clothes on. Please keep your clothes on.
You did remind me, though.
Yes.
You the other fluid that you need to bring, your baby oil, because you got to look good
you
glistening.
you gotta glisten, baby.
Exactly.
You gotta be shimmering out there.
That's right. You want the left bicep is very important to be baby oiled properly. You know, sun's out, guns out, baby.
That's
Sun's
right.
out, guns out.
Get out to the track.
Exactly. We'll be there. If you
Mhm.
have any questions, if you say, hey, I just don't feel comfortable, garage heroes and training at gmail.com.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We
We'll help you
answer
get
every
figured out. We're
single
happy to help.
email.
Yeah.
Oh, Miss Vicky, I forgot to tell you, I'm very popular with the Russian ladies, and I know royalty in Nigeria. You wouldn't believe how many people from. It's amazing.
Did you meet that prince too?
I thought he was my friend. Wait, you?
He's so outgoing. He's so outgoing though. You know, everybody kind of knows him a little bit.
Yeah, he's got
Is
a lot
that the
of
one that's
cash flow.
Facebook like everybody?
He's got a cash flow problem, so I'm trying to help him out.
He's that Facebook guy that has like no friends but is friending everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of very similar to that type of thing happening. Yes.
0 posts. Yes.
Well, come to the track.
Posts.
Come to the track. Get on out there. If you're not sure what's holding you back, email Bill. He'll tell you.
That's right. We'll all get back to you.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you.
How you doing there, buddy?
Nice. We had a nice kind of relaxing weekend. Hasn't been too crazy. What about y'all?
We got the car moving.
Got our car started.
I saw that. What's been going on with it? Why has it been a thing?
Because we don't know shit. We're all around dumb dumbs, and we should have been a Latin major.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
You know what? You know what was wrong with it the whole time?
It
I
ain't
had the
got no
spark
gas
plug.
in it.
I had the spark plugs in the wrong direction.
What?
Spark plug wires were in the wrong direction.
You know how you number the plugs 1, 2, 3, 4? Well, she had the
Yeah.
distributor taken care of, the plugs taken care of, the wires taken care of. She didn't know which one was number 1 and which one was number 4, so they were
With the wires.
with the wires.
So had to go one from the crankshaft, and that was written on the engine block. On the inside, it was pressed in, metal or stamped in. And we were just like,
the internet will also definitely tell you shit like this too.
yeah. I was just like,
we were trying for all the hard stuff, and it was easy.
I learned how to do a valve adjustment.
Yeah, I mean, I bet you
in the
learned how to gap.
process.
I bet you learned how to gap spark plugs and all kind of shit, didn't you?
Oh my gosh, I did. I learned all of it in that process.
That's funny. Well, I'm about to go through the same thing. I got this. I don't know if y'all know this, but I had the stupid ass X5, like a 2004 X5. It's a 6-speed. It's the same M54 as an E46.